markets and some important levels to watch out for. Rohit Srivastava, founder and strategist, IndiaCharts.com, is joining us now. Rohit, good morning. Thank you so much for joining in. Well, we did see some consolidation, then we saw some recovery from the lows. Right now, we are at 25,160 mark. What is Nifty testing in terms of levels? What will be important to watch out for in terms of moves here?
Thanks for having me today. And the levels for Nifty that I can see right now on an immediate basis is around 25,120. And below that 25,000, I think 25,000 slightly on a medium term also should hold out as a very important and good support. And what we should eventually be doing from here is going back to, test the highs and surpass the highs. I think similarly in Bank Nifty, I would put the levels at 56,920 and 56,750. And 56,750 being the broader support from, an overall rising channel for the trend over the last several months. And that too, I believe, should drive it, to highs above or closer to 58,000 eventually.
Rohit, good morning. Thank you for joining in. Do you see that happening this year itself? The remaining 5 months, 4 months 4.5 months that we have, you see Nifty at newer highs by the end of 2025, or do you see that happening in the early part of 26?
No, I think it definitely happens this year. I think we are just, consolidating each time at a higher level and continuing to move higher. If you look at the entire structure from what has happened in April, is while the pace of the move has slowed down, each time after whatever bad news that we've really seen, whether it was Indo-Pak, whether it was Israel, and now it's the earnings season, each sell-off has led to a higher bottom in the market. And that is, I think, an interesting feature in the medium term, which will eventually drive us higher. So I think here also, close to 25,000, we are building a base which sets us up to, surpass 26,000. So going to a new all-time high doesn't look difficult. We could be there as early as next month. And therefore, the year end is a long way. The bigger question is how far can it continue? Will it continue at this slow one-step pace, new high, then again pulling back, and then a high, and then again pulling back? That has been the pattern recently. It's possible we continue in that pattern till the news flow improves or the earnings season improves. But the trend is definitely to the upside. So that clarity needs to be there.
So Rohit, when we talk about highs for the Nifty as soon as next month itself, what will some of the contributors be there? Any particular sector, any particular stock that you see moving higher?
Yeah, so there'll be a lot of sector contributions. Financials, of course, come out the strongest. They've been through a lot of rotation because financials did well, between Jan and May when the markets were turbulent. And after that, they've been consolidating. But if you just compare Nifty and Bank Nifty standalone, Bank Nifty is held out much better than Nifty in terms of, falling less and rising more slowly but surely. And within financials, I would say NBFC is right on top. So always people ask the breakup. Preferences to NBFCs followed by PSU banks and then only private. So the top end is, NBFCs that will do better. Do continue to focus on sectors that have done well over the last couple of years because a lot of them have already been through their valuation corrections. And if growth supports the overall price action, then valuations would not be a concern thereon. So that is pointing towards even areas like power and energy, renewables, which has sort of been ignored for quite some time. We go back to metals. We again see PSU stocks slowly do well over a period of time. Right now, they may be lagging behind over the last month or two, but they're just building a base for the next move. And that would also eventually happen. I mean, we've seen that lead happen in defense. I think that's probably the only sector which has revived strongly from the best performers of last year. And that leaves the last one. The last one is mid and small caps, right? Everybody was invested there. And I think on a stock-specific basis, if not across the board, there are a good number of stocks continuing to show growth. And I think mid caps outperform large caps as much as people have, hoped for the opposite. The trend seems to be that they are still performing better, not just in terms of price action, but also in terms of earnings. So continue to focus on mid and small caps for individual ideas as well.
Continuing to focus on the broader markets is generating more value there. But Rohit, the sector that has been in focus over the last couple of days because of the earnings announcements has been IT. And there has been a lot of gyration this year that the index has seen. Do you believe that the index as a whole has made a bottom this year, and then it's only seeing some bit of moves and then it will continue to move higher? What are the charts indicating here? And between large cap IT and mid cap IT, which one looks stronger?
So history has shown that mid caps ITs have, IT stocks have always done better than the large cap IT. But when I overall think of the IT sector, they are not on top of my mind because they tend to be a defensive segment. Earnings growth typically remains below par. When nothing grows, then we look at IT because at least it grows somewhat and therefore it becomes a defensive bet. But when everything grows, the last thing I want to own is IT, from a returns perspective. So that doesn't mean that the IT stocks don't go up when the market goes up. They just go up much less. And unfortunately, over the last year, the news flow turned more negative than positive compared to what we saw post-COVID. But that's not very different from what it was like in the 2010s also. They were growing earnings at 5 to 8% for the big, IT companies, and that's not where most of the action was. They didn't give above par returns. But the mid-cap IT is continuously surprised on the upside. So focus remains only in finding individual IT stocks, not just going across the board or going to the big ones.
Any particular thoughts on ER&D companies? Take a look at the price action of LTTS, for instance. Numbers were not great, disappointing perhaps, but the stock is higher in trade, and that was even the case with some of its peers like a Tata Tech or Tata Elxsi, which moved up post a muted set of Q1 numbers.
Yeah, so it's a volatile segment, but they have done better than the big ones, and so you can continue to eye whenever there are pullbacks, look for opportunities at entry in those segments. But they can also take time if there is any hit due to whatever global reason. The segment does take time to give you returns. So sometimes you'll have a longer waiting period. That is something to be kept in mind.
Okay, all right. Take that point. Rohit, thank you so much for joining in with your insights on what are the important levels to watch out for on the Nifty and the broader markets as well. With that, we'll slip into a break, but remember to tune into the all-new CNBC TV18 Prime, bringing you insights from policymakers, business leaders and economists shaping both the world and India's future. CNBC TV18 Prime decodes global shifts and their impact on Indian businesses, giving you unparalleled insights. Tune into CNBC TV18 Prime at 12 noon for the Global Reset, at 1 p.m. for the Big C, and Global Lens at 8:30 p.m.